Now you experience it when you walk into your branch. And somebody says, well, we're not going to make that. No, what do you mean? My credit score, my this, my that, the other. You don't know that somebody in New York or Baltimore, someplace said, we're not doing that. Again, it's the fundamental mismatch because 20 years ago, that decision would have been made where you're sitting. But now, 75% of the assets are controlled by 10 banks. So, when I made my introduction, I said to you, I don't think that there's anything short. Now, I'm going way out on a limb now, but I'm not working with anybody anymore. So the things that we've been talking about since 1975, when the CRA law was passed, which, by the way, didn't say that banks were responsible to meet the mortgage credit needs of the markets it served. It said the credit needs. Political advocates came under the law and made it mean mortgages, which is why you know that there's discrimination in lending, because a record has to be kept. Nothing short of that is needed for small business. After 30 years, 35 years, this is my assessment is the commercial banking system in the United States for small businesses is broken. The commercial banking system in the United States for small business is broken. Now, we've got advocates in the room, and I think it's very appropriate that we're meeting at Justine PETERSEN, where there's been tremendous advocacy around mortgage lending and other kinds of lending in our particular community. But again, I don't think any solution in terms of access to capital for small business is going to work short of organizing and short of putting real, you know, I'm going to say one more thing and then I'll sit down. When I was at Fannie Mae, I spent a lot of time in congressmen's offices and senators' offices and back and forth to Capitol Hill and these different places. Fannie Mae eventually did some market research because this company wanted to grow. You know what the research came back and said? And this is people that do branding and marketing at places like Mr. Coleman used to own at 7-Up, you know. They really go in and market and figure out what the need is and they serve the need. Getting a mortgage in the United States for somebody who grew up black, minority, poor, you know, you can go down the list of the target markets. It is no different than being dropped in the middle of Germany and being told, without knowing how to speak German, okay, go get a loan. The difference in knowledge, in information, it's that stark. Okay, so we're at a position now, and we're talking about financial reform in DC and these kinds of things. When all of that's said and done, it's tinkering at the edges. If small business is going to have its access to capital needs met, small business is going to have to organize, and small business is going to have to go to the same table with the same ferocity, with the same, now, I think that there is kind of a happy medium here. A lot of banks, and I think Regions is one of those banks, who is visionary enough to get ahead of the curve and to start getting their internal people moving along the track of doing the right thing relative to small business while this sea change that has to happen occurs. But unless the sea change happens, and it's got to be a bottoms-up move on the part of small business, banks who are just businesses, by the way, just like you, they get 80% of their income from 20% of their customers. They're going to serve their 80%. You can't fault them for that. And the 20% down here that's looking for crumbs and kind of moving around at the edges, they're going to do what they have to do from a regulatory standpoint. But unless you push the envelope, you're not going to get what you need. So, but the mortgages are important because when a mortgage loan is made, a mortgage loan accounts for about 20%, 21% of our gross domestic product in the United States is attached to a mortgage transaction. When you take the loan, the new furniture, the payment that goes to the real estate agent, the carpet, 21%. That's why the country is flat on its back. Because mortgages and mortgage lending is flat on its back. 21% of GDP is represented by that. Everything else is flat on its back. So mortgages are important. But they're important for the same reason that capital is important to you. The flow of capital in the United States has been interrupted. And for small business, it's up to small business to get in the business of advocacy to make sure that you get your piece. Thank you.
Clifton was, what they say, spot on with that. We're going to start doing this every Monday. I'm learning so much. I'm telling you. Next Monday, 1 o'clock, be here. I'm serious about this. If I can get the same panel together. We almost empirify on a daily basis our microlenders talking about the absence of community banks. And there is an example of a convenience store in the Walnut Park neighborhood, exactly what you're talking about, and that is they opened in the mid-'70s. And the proprietor told me that there was a local banker, they had a line of credit and everything was okay. And now she has 12 credit cards and they're pretty much maxed out, and she has an 800 number to talk to, or she's given a credit card application, and gone is her relationship with a community-based lender that was literally in her neighborhood. And so you were spot on with that.